So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another English talk. Yeah, the purpose of this event is talk to people in English and to share some experiences. I am teacher Alexandre from campus Apucarana of PFI, and our guest for tonight is Professor Luciana Barone. She's an important person. She's an international person, yeah, and she is an actress. So I will say Evoé for everybody, Evoé Baco for everybody, yeah, because I'm also an actor. We both are from São Paulo, and we could meet one another here in Paraná. We left São Paulo to meet here in Paraná. How can I say? São Paulo has so many people. If we were in São Paulo, we could not meet one another. So really difficult. Professor Luciana is an actress. She is also a theater director and professor at Unespar campus 2, FAP in Curitiba. She is also member of ERI, Escritório de Relações Internacionais of our university. And she has been to other countries. And tonight she's going to tell us a little bit about her experiences. So, good evening, Professor Luciana.
Good evening. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation, Alexandre.
I thank you. We, PFI, thanks you. All of us thank you. Yeah. Thanks for being here, for accepting our invitation. Yeah. I think most of the people here are your students. So
I have a lot of actors and actors. Giovanna, Carlos, Cal. Hello.
So,
we never speak in English. So.
Really? No, I can't believe it.
In our classes. No. Not yet. Maybe you are starting an internationalization process, so maybe...
Yes. It's a good point because we are in a pandemic moment, a terrible moment. And how can we have internationalization? Oh, we cannot leave home. No, this is an activity of internationalization. It's not necessary to go out of your house to be a person of the world. We can talk in English. We can have people from other countries. We can have an online course. This is also internationalization. So, thanks everybody for being here, and let's go. In the end of this talk, around 15 minutes, before we finish, you can ask questions in English. Oh, I can't say in English. Okay, mix Portuguese or write. You can type your question, and Professor Luciana is going to answer. Yeah?
If I can.
We help one another. There is no problem. Yeah? We are actors. We improvise. We know how to deal with these situations. Yeah? If you forget, you improvise. It's easy for us. Yeah. So, Professor Luciana, although many people know you, but can you talk about yourself, your profession, your career, your experiences for us?
Yes. First of all, I have to apologize for my English. I'm not fluent.
Come on.
No. Also, I always study British English, so there are some differences from American. So, and I like to say that I love the Indian accent because I understand everything. It's very clear. I love it. So, I am a theater artist. I studied at Unicamp, State University of Campinas, and the course is Bachelor in Scenic Arts, literally, but the normal is saying Performing Arts. Mm-hmm. And I studied to be an actor, but when I was in the second grade, I started directing, and I fell in love with directing. And we staged a play called Revolver, and this name was inspired by a Beatles album, Revolver. So I never remember this, and I was thinking about this conversation, and that was an inspiration. I was not had not to do it. And then we made a display, and then we formed a group called NT2AM, NT2AM, strange name. And we moved to São Paulo, all the group, from Campinas to São Paulo. And then we did, in 1999, another play called Cada Falso. It was a play about a contemporary Medea.
How nice.
Yes, like Medea meeting Jazão in contemporary times. And their conversation after all the history. And at that time, I worked with light design. This was what gave me money. And I was also interested in the connection between images and living scenes. So I went to the Department of Multimeios at Unicamp also to study this relationship between recorded images and the relation to the scene. And then after that, this was my master. After that, I studied Canadian stage director, and also he's a filmmaker called Robert Lepage. And he's from Quebec, the French part of Canada. And this was for my PhD at Unicamp, also in the same department of Multimeios, because I was studying at the start, I was studying this relation, images and technology in his work, but then I understood that this was just a good medium for his expression. So I said more in the other aspects also from his work, about his work. And then in São Paulo, I after that, I had another group formed, also me and two friends, called Caos Teatro. Caos com Z.
Oh, no. Well, São Paulo is a real chaos, so it's similar.
Yes, Rome. Then after that, at some time, I was in both of the groups. Another group called Teatro de Alvenaria. This group was focused in investigate collaborative theater. So the way you used to work was, we had a theme, and most of times a book about that theme. Actors improvised scenes on that book. The first play we made was Ensaio sobre a Liberdade. And the first book we read was Vigiar e Punir from Foucault. And we created scenes about the reading. It was not the circumstances, because it's a book from Foucault, but scenes from that subjects. And then there was one of the actors was the playwright, and then he used to write the plays. And then I came to FAP, Faculdade de Artes do Paraná, to teach acting and other subjects, but mostly acting. And I also studied to be a Jungian therapist. I always loved Jung. My advisor from PhD was a Jungian. And in 2015, I decided to study it, and I did a specialization. And also I did this program from body-mind centering. That's a branch of somatic education. I think that's it.
How nice, how nice. So being an actor is so crazy that we need a psychologist to put our mind back on the way. No, please, come back. Yeah.
Or no, how to be more than one.
How to be crazier, because it's necessary. To be a good actor, you have to be a little bit crazy, yes? I understand, I totally understand. Here in Apucarana, I studied at Unespar campus Apucarana, and we have a festival called the Spring Festival. And, well, because of the pandemic, at this time we don't have, we are not holding this festival because we cannot have people together. Yeah? But last year, let me see, I think in 2019, it was the last edition of Spring Festival, and it's a spring festival for arts. So letras inglês students, they perform plays, they perform, they can sing, they can play a music. It's really interesting. And when I was studying in 2016, if I'm not wrong, I don't remember. Yeah, some time ago, my friends and I, we played Macbeth. Yeah, so I think it was a nice place, a mystery, dangerous play, Shakespeare. So my final thesis, my TCC, yeah, was about Shakespeare and Macbeth. So once we drink this water, the Bacchus wine, we fall in love for art, for the stage, for theater, and it's well, when I knew that I would interview Professor Luciana, and Professor Juliane said, "Oh, she's an actress," I said, "Oh, how nice!" I felt really happy because we could discuss about art, about theater. So it's, well, we are suspect on saying this because we love, but I think it's really important. Arts in general are really important for people, yes, not only learning Portuguese, math, science, but arts are also really important to build a better society, to make people think about their reality. So arts are really important. All kinds of arts, music, dance, theater, literature, all of them are important. Yeah? So yeah. I'm really happy to have all of you here. Yeah? And Professor Luciana, you have some experiences in other countries. Yeah? Where did you go to study? What university? And what did you do there? Did you study? Did you research? What did you do there?
Yes, in 2019, I went to England to do a research. I was already developing it here. And I went to Goldsmiths, University of London, to study more about, especially Michael Chekhov, because I was studying my subject was studying body-mind centering for Michael Chekhov's technique. He did a technique about acting, and I was developing a study about it, and then I would like to be with someone who could give me more practice. So I went there to work with a teacher from Goldsmiths that teaches Michael Chekhov's technique, has her PhD is about it. So that's what I went to do.
Ah, okay. So you were researching about this body mind centering, yes?
Yes.
And you went there to study more about this subject. Yeah?
Yes.
Ah, okay. And Michael Chekhov is the name of the director. Yeah?
Yes.
Is he from Anton Chekhov's family?
Yes. His nephew.
Nephew, yes. Ah.
Nephew. From Anton Chekhov, the writer. Michael Chekhov is an actor, was an actor, and his uncle was Anton Chekhov.
Ah, how nice. So he worked with Stanislavski, the masters, yeah, Stanislavski, one of the most important directors, actors, yeah.
Yes, most famous at least. I'm not sure if it's most important in my opinion. But yes, Stanislavski is very important because he has a basis to some kind of acting. But yes, Michael Chekhov worked with Stanislavski at Moscow Art Theater from 1911 to 1928. And Stanislavski loved his acting, loved his work. But Michael Chekhov worked in another way, different from the way Stanislavski used to direct at that time. Because Michael Chekhov didn't believe that an actor should act through his own feelings. Or his memories, his personal memories. And that was what Stanislavski used to ask him. And there is a story, more a story than a history, that he made a scene, I don't remember which scene, but he made a scene and everybody was, wow, you were incredible. What were you thinking about? Oh, I was thinking about my grandfather's death.
Oh.
And some time later, they discovered, I'm not sure if it was his grandfather, but I think so. They discovered he wasn't dead. Oh, I was imagining it. So he was not working in the memories of his feelings, but he was working with the imagination of that situation. So this is the big difference between their approaches.
So Stanislavski maybe insisted on you have to use your own experiences, your own feelings, not imagine, use your own background. And Michael Chekhov, he could imagine a possible situation, another situation.
Yes. At that time, because after that, Stanislavski changed his way of directing and thinking about it. This was very important to Michael Chekhov because the word transformation is a key word to his work, very important for him. And he believed that the actor should transform into the other, transform into the character, and not to bring the character to him, to his life, because most part of the characters are bigger than us.
Of course. Yeah.
Or at least have another experience. So that's why he believed in imagination as the way to create.
So how important it is to our job, to our performance, you have to create, to imagine how your character is, and you have to say as if you were the character. It's different from you. You have to build, create your character. It's extremely important. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I don't watch television anymore. I don't have patience because the soap operas at Globo, on Globo, no, they are, oh Jesus, they are so bad not bad actors, but they don't have enough time to create the character. There is no emotion when they say something. I cannot believe it's real. So soap operas for me are terrible. I don't like it anymore. So in the past, 20 years ago, there were many famous actors such as Paulo Altran, Tônia Carreiro, Laerte Morrone, Juca de Oliveira on TV. And they were from theater. They came to television, so they brought this experience of theater to the television. And now any person from Malhação goes to Globo and this acting personally I don't like so much, but it's what we have. I think it's a little bit financial thing. It has to do with the money, your beauty. You are a beautiful person. Okay, you are on Globo, so I think they don't have enough time to study, really study the character, follow a methodology. So I think it's a challenge for new actors. Maybe there is a difference from actors who work on theater and the actors who work on movies, maybe, or on television. So I don't
Yes,
know. Correct me, please, if I'm
very,
wrong.
very commercial approach from the television. But I also believe that if you are an actor and you are there because you have to pay your bills, you have to survive.
Yes. Yeah.
What can you do with your art there? Actors are artists, are not supposed to do what others believe. So, of course, you have a text, you have a direction, of course. Not saying to not listen to anybody, not that, but you can. Everything can be a good exercise. It depends on the way you are there. If you are there with a purpose, so you can have that experience in a better way, I believe. I don't know. I never worked on the television. I'm just saying that I think that there are different ways of being in not just in television, but in all kinds of work we have to do.
Yes.
Sometimes you cannot choose. So what you do with what you have to do your art in.
Yes, I totally agree. Yes, the money is really important. You have to pay Copel, Sanepar. You have to.
Eat.
It's a job, so let's go. Yeah, I understand.
Also, I think that even Rede Globo has created good series with good directors, good writers, and good actors. Prepare coaches.
Coaches, yeah.
So, yes, I don't see television anymore. I think that it's not a thing to reject.
Oh, guys, we are talking here, but you can ask me questions, right? You can send a message here. I will read for Professor Luciana, right? Don't be afraid. And the Professor Luciana, Michael Chekhov was a Russian person. He was from Russia.
Yes.
And you went to England. Why did you go to England and not to Russia? And why did you go to Goldsmith University of London?
Yes. Chekhov, he was born in Russia, but in 1927, because of the revolution, artists were not welcome in the country at the time, and Chekhov had a very difficult time in his life with some kind of problems, and he understood these difficulties as spiritual difficulties. And then he started to study Rudolf Steiner, that was the guy of anthroposophy, and Rudolf Steiner was forbidden in Russia, and Chekhov was frightened of being arrested, so he left to Russia, and he never came back in his life. Never. No. So he was a guy that was always looking for a place, looking for belonging. Mm-hmm. And he went to Europe, many countries, and then he was invited to go to Dartington Hall. This was a community in England, where an educational community that in the 1930s was very focused on the arts. They have all kinds of arts, and they would like the community was to education, so new ways of education. So the children were invited to learn from the garden, from the forest, it was not a class and a teacher and saying what is right, what is wrong.
It was not a traditional class, it was an open class, a new kind of class,
yes.
New approach. Yeah?
They believed that school was not for train you to tomorrow, to be a good adult. So, life. You are at school now, you are living now, you are learning now. And so arts for these educators was very important for children and for adults. And then they wanted a guy to direct a theater group at Dartington. And someone talked about Michael Chekhov, and Beat, that was the woman responsible for it, went to United States where he was doing a play, and she saw him on stage and loved him, and he went to Dartington to build a Chekhov theater studio. And it was a course of 3 years. And after 3 years, these actors, students, would be invited to join a professional group. But because of the war, he had to run out from England, and then he went to United States and lived there, and he died there and never came back to his country.
No, Jesus. I remember here, who is from music, Hudson is from music. I remember that Frédéric Chopin, yes, he was not French, but he lived in France for a long period, and he died in France. And he was Polish. He was from Poland. And when he was young, he left Poland because of some wars. It was around 1830, and Europe was facing a revolution. Some countries were having some kinds of revolution, and he left Poland, and he never came back to Poland. And he always thought about that. And when he died, he asked to pick his heart and take it back to Poland. And his heart is not in France. He is buried in France, his body is in France, and his heart is in Poland. So how beautiful. I remember that story.
Yeah. Yes. That's why I was saying, because Michael Chekhov was very famous as an excellent actor in Russia. He never got this success again during his life, and his work is very important.
How nice. And we are talking about Michael Chekhov, and you cited body-mind centering. Can you tell about something? What is this subject? Can you explain?
Yes, I can. Body-mind centering is an approach of somatic education. It was created by a North American woman called Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen. And it's about experiencing anatomy and experienced. So you get in contact with the different systems of your body. And for instance, muscle system, skeletal system, the system of the fluids, and so on. And for body-mind system, body-mind centering, there is a mind. They call a mind of each system. So each system has some qualities that makes this mind. Skeletal system is about structure that make you stand. So, and different from the fluid system that are more about flow and about flexibility. So each one has his qualities. And you can experience these qualities when you are focused on them, with your body, with your perception.
It has to do about something about anatomy. You have to know your own body, and you can feel your own body, your perception about your body, and use this perception for your character, for your acting.
Yes. For body-mind centering is not an approach from theater.
Okay.
It has not to do in these principles with theater. A lot of people from dance studied it, but you can be a practitioner of it, or you can also be a kind of therapist. Using its techniques, because it has techniques from touch, techniques from movement. It's a study of the body, living the body. It's not, you see, your heart is here. You see an image. Okay, I understood. Being in the body and learning from your experience. And from your body, because my body is different from yours.
Yes.
So, and also the way that I feel my body is different from yours. So it's not the body.
Okay.
Your body. So, and what I was studying was the connections between how to use this perception as a support for some principles of the Michael Chekhov technique. For instance, he works with quality of movement. Michael Chekhov, a quality of floating. So you work as you were in water. This is a sensation that you create in your relation to the air. You imagine that air is water, and then you can float. I'm working with the air as an actress. But when I can work from the perception of my own fluids because they also maybe have this quality of flow also. But I can feel it in my body. And then with this, my hypothesis was that working with this, I know where in my body I can access it if I know. I have already experienced it. So if a character have this kind of qualities, I'm not thinking about it. I know that if I connect with the interstitial fluid, that fluids of our body, I can access this quality with my body. And then it's very expressive because it's in the body. An idea about it. I know the way in my body to access it, so I can do it tomorrow without, oh my God, tomorrow I have to be very in the fluidity. No, you can access it in your body to work with this quality of movement that Chekhov proposes, to give a character some qualities or some aspects.
So it's, as you told, it's extremely important for dancing, for acting, so you can mix something. When you told about that, I remembered Klaus Viana. Yes, Klaus Viana, who is an actor, who started studying acting. Everybody does some exercise like this. You are a plant. Now you are growing. Is it similar to body mind centering, or is it another approach?
I would say about Chekhov, because Chekhov has an exercise very similar to it, but it's not. Oh, you are now a plant. Like it's about contraction and expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Of your body, what being like that in a contraction causes in your body, and when you go to an expansion, what are the differences? You feel, but not feel all. You sense is a better word from your body. So that's why I think they are very good together, because Chekhov tells about sensing. It's about imagination, but it's not an imagination that is in my mind. It's something that you bring, you embody it, you incorporate it. And yes, you asked about BMC, but I think the connection is more with Chekhov's idea. But one idea that's not, now. What about the history I must invent in my mind to be in that circumstance? It's not mental. It's very psychophysical, really, together. Body-mind is one thing.
Okay. So many people think that when we are on stage, we are just dancing, or it's technique. Is 90% you are using a technique. It's not only pleasure. Yes, you are working on the stage. Yeah?
Yes, and also creativity. I think for Chekhov, imagination is very, very important, and creativity. He talks about individual creativity. That what means that my creativity is not like yours, is not like Valkyria's. So we have to trust it. We have to trust in the images that visit us as artists. So, yes, work with creativity, because in this world, Occidental world, in contemporary times, we are educated to be mental too.
Yes. Yes.
And I understood. Okay.
We are much more mental people than physical people. Yeah? We think too much.
We don't trust our intuition.
Intuition, yes.
We don't trust it. And as an artist, you have to trust in your.
How nice, how interesting. What can you tell about your research field? Do you research at the university? You work on this approach? Do you research about these techniques? Because what's the relationship between what you studied in Goldsmith University and your research field? What's the importance of this trip you made to your research field?
Yes, I think that as I was telling you, Michael Chekhov is not very known. We have a book translated by from the English and in Portuguese, and at that edition they cut all the spiritual approaches he made because it was an American edition. And well, I think he's not very known in Brazil. And in other countries, there are more courses, not at university. At university, I was very lucky to find this partner. Her name is Cass Flaming at Goldsmith. She's a professor. Her PhD is about Chekhov's work, but and also she's an artist, because it was difficult when I was interested in going there to find a person from academy that could receive me, but that had the practical work that was what I needed. So I was very lucky to finally find her. But there are a lot of people working with it in the theater, not in the university necessarily. Nowadays, there are more people studying it in the academy and doing PhDs, etc. But in Brazil, we don't have too many people working with it. And I think it would be very good to, and also research in a practical way. It's not just about reading and writing. Of course, understanding the history, the concepts, the aspects, but also how to embody it, because that's the principle of it. So that's what I needed, to get a partner, look into my body, telling me, because I worked alone, and alone because I had no partner, not alone with my body, but because in the classes we worked with the technique, and of course in groups and etc. But I needed this support to get another point on it.
Oh, how nice! Another point of view, a different approach. Yeah, so really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And how did you find Goldsmith University? You were searching on the internet. You talked to someone there. How did you find?
I was searching for a person like her. Mm-hmm. I wrote to a lot of people in the world. When I decided I have to go outside and study with somebody, I wrote to a lot of people. But one was not from university, the other was a kind of university, but not as ours. So I couldn't go there as a researcher, because it was not a course that I was looking for. It was to work on a research as a teacher, as a professor. And then I found her, and she was from Goldsmiths, and she was a teacher there. And I could go there to develop this research. So it was not the university, it was because of her. And I was very lucky because it's Goldsmiths is incredible. And London is a very good place to study it because he lived there, and at these times he developed a very important part of his technique. So I could train with the teacher who trained this professor. I trained with him. I was with her theater group that is about Chekhov. So it was a very good place to be, to study about him, to investigate about him.
So here we have a question from Valkyria. She wanted to know about the process of studying master, but you didn't go there to apply for a master program. You went there to research. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, but I knew a Brazilian. She was studying arts. They have a course that's it's more visual arts, but it's not just visual arts. They have history of arts, and she was living there, I think, from 2 years. And I don't know exactly, Valkyria, how is the process to get there, but they have fees. It's not like our universities, state and federal, that are public and they always have fees. But you always, what I think it's important to say is, if you are interested in go somewhere, you have to go to the site. You have to see the admission. What's the admission process? What documentation they need, and you have to plan. If you want to go to another country, it takes time, and you must probably organize yourself because of the money. So you have to be patient because it takes time. It won't be. I spent a lot of time looking for a person.
Oh.
People, and they were all very kind, but it was not the way for me. So you have to find what you are looking for, and then when you find, you will study the ways to get it. It takes time, but it's completely possible.
And you talked about money, so I think most people are interested about that. Money. How much is a trip like that? Where did you stay? Did you have any scholarship to go there? Or did you pay by yourself? You paid the trip? How was this process?
Yes, I didn't have a scholarship, but as a teacher, I was working there, so I didn't stop earning my payment. And about how much, it's difficult today because I went to see 7.33, £1 7.33 reais.
Oh no, £1, almost 10 reais. Yes, almost 10. Oh no.
Yes. And is expensive. England is an expensive country for us. Mm-hmm. But, there are ways. If you book a hostel with a long time before, it can be cheaper. If you find a program that gives you discounts on the fees, there are ways. And also there are programs. Because Brazil nowadays, there are no government programs to scholarships, to research, to nothing. nowadays with this government. We have to look for, to search for. If you want it, you have to go to CAPES, the site of CAPES, see if there is any opportunity open to your field. Go to Fundação Araucária, go to Fulbright if you want to go to United States. And if you want another country, you have to find the agencies that work with scholarships and find a way.
Good. And in London, in England in general, did you have? Oh, let me write here. Read here. We need to. Okay. Thanks for watching. This conversation is going to be available on YouTube. Later, we are going to post on YouTube, and you can watch later. Yeah. Professor Luciana, did you have any cultural shock? Something that is really different from Brazil?
I had two, but I will tell about one that's about English. I went to a workshop with a professor very recognized because of Chekhov. And she's very classic. And she gave us original texts from Shakespeare by Shakespeare.
No. Old English. Old English. Oh no.
English people were, what's the meaning of that? I was completely lost with that. The expressions that I cannot even repeat. And then I felt she invited me not to show my text exercise. For me, it was very difficult because for me, the ethic that is involved in Chekhov's technique is the opposite of it. Is how we can be together in a play. All of us. Chekhov, when he went to England, he didn't speak English. He learned. Yes. So this was very difficult because the way I felt was a kind of superiority because I was from America Latina. So this I felt, but not at university. At university, there are people from all parts of the world, all are together, changing ideas, changing work. But yes, this was a situation that is a cultural shock because of different ways of seeing the difference, the other.
I know that in England, when you are going to cross the street, you have to look the opposite side because they drive in the opposite way. So for us, I think it's really strange. It's totally different, yeah.
Yes, you never know if you are going or coming back.
Yes, for us would be difficult.
Because the streets also are the driving and also the directions of the streets. As you said, you have to look to the right side. But when you are in the street, for me, I'm on the right way, or I should be on the other train.
Did you take that bus, that red bus?
Yes, I had some pictures. You asked me.
Yes. Could you show us some pictures
I
of your
don't know
trip?
if I have time. Do we?
Yes, I think so.
Let me see if I can, because these things. Tcharam, como que eu escolho? Não, né? It's sharing? No.
Yeah,
Here.
Sharing.
No. Este. Very small. A tela inteira? It's not showing the archive.
Let me see. How can I help?
No. The archive is opened, but it's not showing.
Professor Juliani, please help us.
Yes, I'll try.
You are here! Wow! How can you do it?
Click on apresentar tela inteira.
Apertei, mas não. The archive is not. It shows my screen, not the archive.
Ou apresentar uma janela, eu acho que dá certo também. Você tem que ir onde você quer, né? Se é um
theater. That's a theater. Are you seeing?
Yes.
Or not?
Yes.
Yes.
How nice! The real Globe Theater.
Yes, they reboot it in another place, but as the original.
Okay.
Cadê? See? No. I will show like this. And then this is Globe Theater also.
How beautiful.
Yes, it is. Balcony. Here is Goldsmiths. I want to go there. At the door.
Is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the department where I was working, theater and performance. Here is a workshop about Michael Chekhov at Goldsmiths with this Chekhov collective, that is the group from the advisor, Cass Fleming. This is Trinity Laban Conservatoire, that is near to Goldsmiths.
Mm-hmm.
Laban also lived in Dartington Hall. Here's the same workshop, working with qualities of movement. Here is the studio where I trained. It's at the university. It's far from the center of London, but there.
Oh, the bus. Famous bus.
Yes, this is the center of London. The parks that are so beautiful, and Shakespeare is there. This is a park of roses.
How wonderful, how beautiful.
Jeez. And I saw Bacurau there in this festival. This is the bridge.
I forgot the name of this bridge. It's Tower Bridge. I don't know. I don't remember, but it's really famous, this bridge.
Yes, it's a postal card.
Yeah.
And here is Dartington Hall, where Chekhov lived and worked. Yes, it's very beautiful. It's about 3 hours from London, and here it's his theater, little theater. This theater was built by Walter Gropius, that was a famous designer, director and designer.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
How beautiful your pictures. And
is it right?
Yes, we could see. I could see. Was it raining in London?
Sorry, is it sharing yet or not?
No more. Was it raining in London? Because they say that it rains a lot in London. Yeah?
I went from September to December. Yes. You have to have your umbrella.
Okay. And time is almost over. Let me ask you some questions more. In your opinion, talking about our career, the career of actors, how easy, or in your opinion, how easy or how difficult is the job market, the career for actors nowadays in Brazil.
Nowadays.
Yes, nowadays in Brazil.
Pandemia times. Well,
Yes,
we have.
during the pandemic moment is worse than in a normal situation. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's important to say that we are in a very, very difficult situation for artists, from actors, from light designers, from technicians. It's a very difficult moment. We have to look around and help if we can, or ask for help if you need. You have to help each other because it's a very complicated situation, really tragic situation, and this government won't do anything. So I think this is an important point. Yes, we don't have a government that look with care to arts. So Brazil has a lot to grow up about politicians, art and culture. But also an actor can do a lot of things. Can work with publicity, can work with films, can work in television, can make theater, can make dubbing in films when you voice, can work with this. So there's a lot of things an actor can do. It's not all. It's very, very hard. It is, especially when we have governments like this, that all the money we had, there's no more. I think, yes, in São Paulo, for instance, a lot of groups, it's true, but there are groups that have 20 years. They got it. They created Lei de Fomento. It's possible to build ways. I think it's part of the work. Do this work, this opened these doors, because it won't be a president that we will open. The class, also. It shouldn't be, but it's our profession.
Yes. I think all professions, all careers have their own problems. In the beginning of the career, problems all of us have. So, but the actors have to find the way, but there are possibilities. There are possibilities of working.
Yes, of course. And now, in this situation, artists are creating other ways to do theater, online theater, virtual theater. As Chekhov says, you have to use your creativity in your life. It's not about being on the stage. It's about being imaginative in your life. I'm not saying that, it's okay. No, it isn't. But we have to use it. And like I was saying before, I think one part of our work is how I am here today, how I'm dealing with the situation I have today.
Good. Yes, it's surviving, a way of surviving. All of us have to survive, and we have to find ways of doing so.
Yes.
And a last question. I would like to continue talking to you all night long. Really interesting. And how English was important to you when you went there? Of course, you went to an English language country. Of course, you had to speak English. But your English skills, did you improve your speaking? How difficult it was, and how important was English for you, for your studies there in England, and for your career and
Yes.
how English could be important for actors in
Yes.
general.
I think it's important to speak another language, and you learn about culture, you grow up, you learn about differences, you learn about respect, and if Unespar has beautiful programs to teach it, so students should join them. So, but also I think sometimes we put a barrier.
A barrier from a wall.
Yes, and if you go there, you have to. The important is to communicate. People know. I was Brazilian. People knew that. They weren't expecting me to speak. Look at her English. It's not important. The important is that you can communicate what you want. So, of course, if you go to a course, you have to understand. At the first days, what are they saying? With time, you can hear better, understand better, and of course, if you're passing a time there, the language gets better also, and I think now when I came back to study again. Yeah, if you stop speaking another language, you lose it completely.
Yeah.
So you have to be in contact always. So yes, I think you should always try to be in contact, because, and also you can think in other ways also. It's not the way you are used to. So I think that's fine also.
So if you have a choice between study English and don't study English, it's better if you choose study, because you can.
I'm studying English and Spanish, and I want to study. Yes, because I love Spanish also, and I'm tired of my. Como é que se diz? Portunhol.
All Brazilian people think that they speak Spanish very well.
Yeah. When you start studying the verbs, it's not.
So I think our time flies. I'd like to know whether you have Professor Juliane, Giovanna, if you have any question to Professor Luciana. Any curiosity?
I don't have any questions. It was amazing. I love you, Luciana. Perfect.
I love you.
Well, I was saying that I arrived at the middle of the conversation, so I couldn't actually know if you have answered some of the questions I could have. So I was shopping actually for food, because I had to go to the supermarket, and we had no time today, right, Lu? Because we were in the conference before, and then I said, okay, let's go now. And then, of course, I took a lot of time there, more than I expected. But that's it. Thank you so much, Lu, for participating. I love to hear your experience from the point I could be here. It's very nice to talk to you always, and thank you for accepting.
I love to know Alexandre also.
So
Alexandre is a student, and we used a lot of his talents as an actor. So he helped us with Hamlet,
yes,
and things that they not me they performed during the course. So Alexandre is a very good actor.
Yes. So I must say thank you so much, everybody for watching, Professor Luciana for accepting our invitation. And don't miss our next English talk. I don't remember if it's with Samuel or I think it's Professor Teacher Mari, yes, the next talk. But we are going to publish on the social medias. And I hope to see you soon, guys, personally. It was a pleasure, guys. So thank you so much, everybody.
Very much.
Okay, so bye-bye. Have a nice weekend. See you around.